Alright, what's up guys, it's Matt's Boosted, and if you're watching this video, you're probably thinking about buying a Corvette, or maybe you're just a fan of Corvettes. Either way, man, you gotta decide, are you gonna get the stick, or are you gonna get the automatic? That's the question of the day when buying a Corvette C6. I've got a 6-speed stick shift in mind. Let's talk about it. So if you're looking to buy a Corvette C6, or maybe you've already got one, that's something that you've got to decide, or you've had to decide at some point. Do I want to get the automatic? Do I want to get the manual? Well, it's a really good question, and there's a lot of factors that you've got to take into account if you're going to get an automatic or manual, you know? So if you get a manual, I've got a manual, I got a 6-speed. I'll give you the pros and cons real quick. Number one, the pros about the manual are the fact that you get to really drive that bad boy. You know, you get the shift, you get the rib gears, you get to have all the fun, you get the downshift, pass cars on the interstate, look like an animal. That's what's fun about the manual, especially if you take it to the track. Manuals are just more fun. They're more driver engaging. They're an absolute blast. If you've never driven a manual or you can't drive a manual, I'd recommend learning on something other than your Corvette, because you don't want to burn up the clutch on that bad boy when you're learning to drive a manual. You can, but I would recommend starting off with something easier. And it's harder to find a manual these days, I know, but if you can find a buddy with an older, like just an older foreign car with the manual. I learned to drive a manual in a Honda Prelude. It's just a lot easier if you learn in a car that's a little bit easier. Not that the Corvette C6 is hard to drive as a manual, but if you've never driven one, you should probably practice on something besides your Corvette C6 that you just bought, because you're probably going to burn up the clutch. One thing I like about the manual too is honestly they make a little bit more power. There's just a pinch less drivetrain loss. At the end of the day, you make a little bit more power, and I'm all about that. Also, the manuals generally are a little bit more rare. They've got a little bit better resale value. Guys like the manual transmissions. Now, depending on which Corvette C6 you're looking at, you've got a couple different manual options. From 2005 to 2007, the Corvette C6 had the T56, but from 2008 to 2013, it had the TR6060, and the TR6060, it is a much beefier transmission. It can handle more power. It's just a better transmission overall. Now, the TR6060, they do say compared to the T56, it's not quite as smooth, and I've got a T56 in my Corvette C6 and makes over 1,000 horsepower, and let me tell you, the T56 takes the horsepower just fine. For how long, I don't know, but one thing I do know about the T56 is that it is pretty smooth overall. It really, really is. Now, the downfall is about having a manual is if you drive it daily and you're always in a lot of traffic, you know, the back and forth, man, it can wear you out. If you get stuck in a lot of traffic, you'll wake up the next day with a sore leg, or maybe that's just me because I'm getting old. But seriously, if you're in traffic, you're going to be working that clutch, you're going to be driving that bad boy. If you're not automatic, things are a little bit more chill. You can sit back, you can relax. If you're driving a manual and you're trying to drink out of a, a large McDonald's cup, and you're trying to text your girlfriend or whatever, you're going to drive a manual, and it's not going to be easy because you're going to be trying to do 14 different things. Not saying you should text and drive, but even just anything, you can't really do anything extra when you're driving a manual because you've got to be constantly engaged, which can be a good thing in my opinion. So overall, I think a manual is a great choice. If you want a Corvette C6 that you can really rip on and you can really get that full driver feel and you're in fully control and you're not in a lot of traffic, you could get a manual. But if you're in a lot of traffic, you don't know how to drive a manual, or you just want something more consistent time-wise, let's talk about the automatic. Now, the automatic in the Corvette C6 in 2005, it had the 4-speed, and then from 2008 to 2013, they put in the automatic 6L80 transmission. And for an automatic transmission, it is really, really solid. If you've got an automatic Corvette C6, no, there's nothing wrong with that, man. I've had automatic cars and I love them because you don't have to mess around with shifting gears. And if you just want to take it out real quick during your lunch break and you want to go, just through the drive-through, just to get out and about, and there's a little bit of traffic, take an automatic. It's so much smoother. If you got a stick, man, you're going to be working that bad boy, which can be fun, but it can also be a little annoying when there's a lot of traffic, like I said, or you just want to chill and you're not wanting to do a lot. An automatic's nice. Plus, if you've never driven a stick, an automatic's going to be way, way easier to learn and get into. The other good thing about an automatic is that it's just going to be consistent. If you're trying to race your car, I know not everybody's trying to race their Corvette C6, but if you are, an automatic's going to be way more consistent than a manual. And now if you get a Corvette C6 with the manual down the road and you're adding power to it, you're going to need to upgrade the clutch. And there's a few different options. I think McLeod and Munster clutches are some of the best out there. My car's got a McLeod, super solid. And then, Munster clutches are really good as well. Now with the automatic, I don't really know much about the automatics because I don't have one, but I do know, because I've had automatics, it's got a torque converter. And when you start adding mods and you add a big cam, you're going to need to add a torque converter just to, make that thing a little bit smoother so it's not camming so hard, and it just makes the daily drivability ridiculous in it. If you get an automatic, if you get a stick in the Corvette C6, it's going to be awesome, man. I know I didn't talk about the automatic a lot in this one just because honestly, I've got a stick, but if you're going to be in traffic, you want something just a chill daily driver, you don't want to be having to rip gears and mess with it, an automatic's great and there's nothing nothing wrong with that. But if you want to rip gears and you want to really get down and dirty and pass some cars with shifting gears without just ripping it on the gas pedal, then a stick shift's probably the best thing for you. Either way, man, I just want to shoot a quick video talking about, should you get a stick? Should you get an automatic? When you look on the market, there's a bunch of sticks, there's a bunch of automatics, there's a lot of options out there. At the end of the day, get what's best for you. If you're getting a base model, you can get a stick or an automatic, but if you're getting a Z06, you're gonna have to get a stick shift in that bad boy. So either way, man, get the car that you can afford. That's what matters at the end of the day, man. I appreciate you guys watching. If you're a fan of Corvette C6s, if you're a fan of BMWs, if you're a fan of car content in general, appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you guys in the next one.